So let's outline what we want to do, and in the next segment, we'll execute it.
We'll need to make our first request to see how many results we get, then parse the JSON that it returns, then determine how many pages of results that ends up being. We can then generate a random number in that range, then use that number to make a second request for a random page. And finally, repeat what we did previously and get a random photo from that random page of results. In this chart, the steps are defined in a way that suggests that each step happens one after the other without delay. But remember, when we're working with networking requests, the requests don't complete immediately. That's why we use a completion handler to define what we want to happen once a network request finishes. It's like saying, I don't know when the request will complete, but run this code when it does.
Another added benefit is that while the network request is being processed, our app can continue running. We describe this kind of request as an asynchronous request, or asynchronous task, because it gives us the ability to define the behavior we want and to defer its execution until after something happens. In this case, after the request completes.
You can think of an asynchronous request like putting a cake in an oven and setting a timer to indicate when the cake will finish baking. While the cake is baking, we can go do other things like make frosting. But as soon as the timer goes off, we need to pull the cake out of the oven. Pulling the cake out of the oven is like our completion handler. It's what we do as soon as the timer goes off. In the same way, we want to make the second request only after the first request finishes and we've gotten our random page number. In the second request, we'll define another completion handler to handle getting a random photo from the random page of results. So you can see how, to achieve this flow of steps, we are chaining together asynchronous requests. When one request finishes, we'll move on to the next, and so forth.
This kind of chaining of asynchronous network tasks is a common occurrence, and there are some popular frameworks out there for dealing with this. We won't go into detail about them in this course, though, but if you're curious, you should check out the links in the instructor notes.